Well, I actually believe that the reason why the Hollow Earth people were able to invent flying saucer technology is because they studied the inner sun and how it maintains its central location in the center of the Earth. And if it was for pure gravity, that it wouldn't be able to stay there. Because if it got off ever so slightly to one side or closer to the surface on one side than the other, then it would be drawn to the surface and crash into the inner surface. So it's maintained there by the radiation and the electromagnetic and electrostatic charge that it has, that it repels the inner surface of the planet towards the central location. But the scientists, they claim in their college textbooks that everywhere inside of a hollow planet you would have zero gravity. But that's because they don't take into account what gravity is. And when you research gravity, they say that they don't know what it is and what causes it. So I've come up with a theory based on all my research of what gravity is, and it's based. And I have several people that have also came to the same conclusion. Okay, that gravity is not a pull towards the surface of the planet, but it is a push from space. And the reason why it's being pushed is gravity is in the center of all atoms of the matter in the planet. Actually, atoms are hollow, and they have a nucleus that is quite a distance from the orbiting electrons. Okay, so in the nucleus is the source of gravity. It is what's causing the draw, and basic to this theory is that all of space is full of an etheric substance that the scientists of the 19th century and earlier, for example, Isaac Newton, believed that all space is full of this etheric substance. Now, it's claimed that towards the beginning of the 20th century, that the Michelson-Morley experiment disproved the existence of the ether of space. But when you go into the literature and examine it carefully, you find that they did not find a null result in their experiment. They just discounted it. It was so small because they did it underground. There was another scientist called Miller that carried on the same experiments that Michelson-Morley did above ground and on all kinds of terrain for a period of 30 years and proved conclusively that there is an ether wind that blows past the Earth, and I believe it actually blows into the Earth. And this ether wind blowing into the Earth is flowing into the nucleus of all atoms, where the atom gathers the nucleus of the atom gathers the ether gas and concentrates it down into physical matter, or spinning balls of matter that are then ejected out the south polar opening of the atom and become what is known as the magnetic field of the atom.
Are you familiar with Trevor James Constable?
No.
He has been doing weather engineering for like 50 years, and his basic principle is that weather comes from the ether, literally. That it comes into matter from the ether, that we don't understand weather the way we think we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of effects of the ether that need to be studied more in depth. And the study of the ether and its effect as gravity has been studied quite extensively, and I have in my ebook a whole paper I've written on the cause, the control of gravity, the origin, cause, and control of gravity.
It's extensive, what you've written, really involved.
It has discovered that for example, notably, Townsend Brown discovered that electromagnetic fields can control the ether flow and control gravity. And there is evidence that our military, there's deep down black projects of the military that have knocked flying saucers out of the sky, have taken them on the ground, and have back engineered this technology, and are actually building flying saucers with using anti-gravity based on electromagnetics. It's electrogravitics, it's called, in which they use electricity and magnetism to control gravity and use it as a propulsion force to travel anywhere in space or underwater. It's really a fascinating subject.
Have you read Jan Lamprecht's The Hollow Planets?
Oh yes, if you read that book, you'll notice he gives. I'm in his acknowledgments at the beginning. I actually did some proofreading of his book while he was writing that, and gave him some suggestions as he was writing that book. He did an awesome job on that book. Yes. Of the evidence that he came up with, there were several very interesting things. For example, Chernobyl radiation that went off from the power plant that went off in the Ukraine. 2 years later, they found radiation in the snow in Antarctica, and the only way that could have gotten there was if it had blown north and gone through the polar opening, blown through the inner Earth, and blown out to the south polar opening, because of the wind patterns over the surface of the planet. At the equator, there's this jet stream that flows around the middle of the equator that prevents any air from the northern hemisphere from going into the southern hemisphere.
Fascinating.
He also did a lot of that research I was telling you about, viewing the mirages in the Arctic and those people that went up there. He also discovered an article in one of the science magazines in 1920 written by Admiral Byrd physicist, Lieutenant Green, in which he interviewed the Greenland Eskimos, and he asked them point blank what happened to the Viking colonists that had colonized Greenland back in 980 AD and lived there for almost 1,000 years, and then just mysteriously disappeared. And the Greenland Eskimos said that one winter a hunting party came from the north, and they told the people that they had found a paradise, and that they just all picked up their bags and singing songs, traipsed off across the ice in the middle of the winter and never came back. So apparently there was at that time enough ice to clear to the inner continent that they were able just to migrate over the ice to the inner continent through the polar opening.
Fascinating. Rodney, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. I hope that you will come back. This is fascinating. There's so much. I know that we're scratching the surface. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to learn more about the Hollow Earth, you can go to hollowearth.com, and you can purchase the ebook that Rodney has written and prepared for you. Have a look. It's certainly worth the $20. There are so many pieces of interesting, fascinating information. Rodney, I hope you'll join us again.
Well, it's been a pleasure being with you on your show today, and I wish you the best today.
Thank you so much.